I'm going to switch over and show you some stuff that we've been doing on a surface table. And this is not a plug for Microsoft. We don't have any big emotional investment in this. To tell you the whole story about this is Jack asked us if we wanted a surface table, and we said no. And it showed up 4 weeks later. So since it came, we decided we should show this. And I was going to ask Will and Brees, do you guys recognize this data? Yes. All right. So we've been working with Scott Murray, who gave us a little subset of your data. And the idea here is to take we're trivializing the green print process, but we're thinking about what this might be, how this might be effective in a public environment. So what Richie has done is he's put in 3 different weightings here. And you can go back, and as you toggle between the different results, look at the slider buttons. They move if he's actually changed them. So you can record what each group or each interest group's settings were. And we've also done a web-based version of this as well, which we'd be happy to show to you. So I'm glad I got to meet you yesterday, and we'd like to show you some stuff later today. Okay, so the other thing we've been doing with this is we've been trying to understand UI on touch devices, especially on a device like this where you can have lots of simultaneous inputs, and it's not like you got a fat mouse. You have to really think about what the experience is like. Does this look familiar to planner landscape architects, the famous linear summation weighted overlay kind of thing? So what Richie's doing is he's setting the parameters for a CrossCountry Mobility analysis. He's going to ahead and execute. He's going to execute that, right? It's running? Okay. Your display is not quite like our display, but dark green is cheap to travel across. The redder, warmer colors are expensive to travel across. And these little hockey puck things just show different origins all going to the same destination. So you can see it's pretty fast. The other thing we can do is we can actually turn this more into a pipeline siding or transmission line siding kind of application. Again, cross-country mobility or cost surfaces. And what we're doing is we're finding the top 3% of the solution sets from each origin to each destination. So if we're in dark blue, we're still in the top 1% of the solution set in terms of expense, cost however you want to measure that, to get from that origin to that destination. Got it? Okay, so one of the cool things about the surface table is it also has it takes advantage of these things called domino tags. Richie, could you? Okay, I'm not going to distract you. You do what you're going to do. Can you see that there's a big fire truck there, and it's got a little tag on the bottom of it? All right, and he's just going to place that on the table. This is not going to be an origin. What this is saying is construct me a cross-country mobility model for my fire truck, and another one for my Mazda 6 hatchback, or Mazda 3, whatever that is. And so you may see, if the color was a little bit better, you'd see that, whoops, let's restart that guy. There actually are 2 guys behind the curtain here. All right, so that's our destination. All right, these are red circles, and what happens is when the cost surface is finished, they will change color. So you can see that there's a blue color and there's a green color now. And what Richie's doing is he's touching with his finger different origins. And if you're really sharp-eyed, you can see from each origin there are 2 different paths taken. There are 2 different efficiencies. Fire truck can go places where the Mazda 6 can't go. And if we bring up the table, we can actually see the cost surfaces for each one of them. So, got it? So this whole idea that you can tag these things to do an explicit operation, you can imagine using monopoly houses or high-rise buildings, some of those sorts of applications. Okay, Richie. Okay, so we've shown you how to make cross surfaces. Let's show you a little site suitability application that Jack asked us to do. So let's get our table of contents turned around here. So we've done some suitability analysis already. Wow, Richie. Okay. And he's just drawing with his finger what he wants the plan to be. This is kind of, this is the whole idea of doing a design, literally sketching. So your yellow trace has been replaced. Oh, you guys probably aren't using yellow trace. You're not that old. But the whole idea that you could do those kinds of comparisons quickly using the interface. Richard, we're going to show another one. How about surface profile? Yeah. So the surface table, all the applications we've written for it are custom applications. They've been done using the Microsoft WPF, technical stuff. But what we want you to know is everything is a web service that's running here. Every operation is a geoprocessing operation running on a server. So this should look familiar because this is the same tool, the same service from the same server that Bernie discovered and used when he was doing his ArcGIS Explorer demo. So the whole idea that if you create a service and publish it like Boston Solar has done, other people can consume it and use it. Okay. If you guys want to come and play around with this later this evening, we're going to be over in Q1 East, and we'd be happy to show you the stuff that we've been working on. Did I leave anything out? Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. Come on, Thomas. So this is Thomas Emga, and this is an application he wrote 3 or 4 years ago, and what we've done is we've web-enabled it. So what he's got is a BlackBerry device. You can see it. Maybe you can see it. He's gone out and taken a bunch of photos around Redlands. It's got a GPS in it, so the photos have been geotagged. He's put it on the table. It's got a tag, so it's done a Bluetooth communication, downloading the photos. Oh, that's nice. The photos from the camera onto the table. And he's just using this as a light table, and he can get rid of the ones he wants, and he can keep the ones he wants. And he asked it to be geocoded. So it's taking the headers, it's sending those to a web service, which is georeferencing those things and correctly placing them on the map. And these have orientation. And if we executed the next step of this, they could be consumed in their correct position and billboarded inside of the 3D applications that Gert and Nathan were showing you just earlier. So we get some information about the pictures. We can explore them. We can put them on the table. A great idea that Carl suggested to us yesterday was drive a video up the street and use your fingertip to play back and forth the video. Can you let's bring up the police thing just really quickly. This has nothing to do with planning, and we were experimenting with the capabilities of Silverlight. But I just wanted to show you this because the technology is changing so quickly. This isn't ours, that we're just taking advantage of some stuff that's been done. So these are simulated police car locations. And this is the cool thing about them, is that, can you open up a couple more, Richie? So we're looking at cameras on the dashboards of cars driving through. And you can see that the cars are actually leaving breadcrumb trails behind them. So we literally can walk back and forth on the street. And because we're a GIS company and because we can do 3D simulations, you can put in future buildings which have not been constructed and walk up and down the street and see how they're going to be affecting the streetscape that you're involved in. Okay, that's it. I'm sorry to keep you guys from lunch. Back here at what time?